Welcome back, everyone. Today I'll be doing July 2021 Csec Mathematics question number 5. Let's get started. So the question states 100 students were surveyed on the amount of money they spent on data for their cell phones during a week. The table below shows the results as well as the midpoint of each class interval. So here we have the amount spent. X is greater than 50 but lesser than or equal to 60. The number of students, which is the frequency, is 7. Here we have the midpoint of X, that's the midpoint, is 55. When X is greater than 60 but lesser than or equal to 70, the number of students is 11 and the midpoint is 65. That's the midpoint of this. X is greater than 70 but lesser than or equal to 80. We have 31 students and the midpoint is 75. Remember, it's money. Here we have X is greater than 80 but lesser than or equal to 90. The number of students is 29 and the midpoint is 85. And remember, it's the midpoint of this. Here we have X is greater than 90 but lesser than or equal to 100. And the number of students is 22 and the midpoint is 95. It states using the table, part 1A, determine the modal class of the amount of money spent. Now, group frequency distribution showing the amount of money that 100 students spent on data for their cell phones during a week. Since I need to determine the modal class, modal means how often in terms of the one happening the most often. So we look at the frequency. The largest frequency is 31. So the modal class would be X is greater than 70 but lesser than or equal to 80. So the frequency tells us this is the largest, which is the number of students, that's the frequency. And going across, our modal class is X is greater than 70 but lesser than or equal to 80. And that's it. The next part says calculate an estimate of the mean amount of the number of money spent, giving your answer correct to 2 decimal points. If I want the mean is equal to the sum of the frequency times X over the sum of the frequency. That's how we find the mean. So what I can do, I can create just a little part here where I'm going to have XF. XF represents multiplying these numbers. So I will multiply the following. I will say 7 times 55, that's 385. And I'll have 11 times 65, that's 715. And I'll have 31 times 75, 31 times 75, that's XF. That will give me 2,325. Then I'll have 29 times 85. Let me just readjust my table. I'm just going to have it open. So I have 29 times 85. That will give me 2,465. And then I will have the final one, 22 times 95, and that will give me 2090. So this is XF where I multiply 7 times 55, that's 385. 11 times 65, that's 750. 31 times 75, that's 2,325. 29 times 85, that's 2,465. And 22 times 95, that would give me 2090. So finding the sum of this, that will be the sum of XF. So we are going to add. So we have 385 plus 715 plus 2,325 plus 2,465 plus 2090. That will give me 7,980. So here I will have 7,980. Now, sum of F is coming from here, but we were already told that we have 100 students, so this should add to 100. But if you don't want to, use the information here, you can add 7 plus 11 plus 31 plus 29 plus 22, and you'll still get 100, but it was already given. So the sum of F is 100. So dividing this by 100, 79.80. And that's it. Now, because we want money, that's why we have $sign, because it says estimate the mean amount of money spent. So this represents the mean amount of money spent. Now, the next question says, Damien reports that the median amount spent is $84. Median is the middle. Briefly explain why Damien's report could be correct. So I'm just going to state the explanation. So it says Damien reports that the median amount of money spent is $84. Why is this correct? Now, remember, we have 100. So what we're going to look at is that we have a total of 100 students as a frequency. And I am going to create the cumulative frequency. So if I have the cumulative frequency, that will help me to note the position of each interval. So here for the cumulative frequency, this would be 7. And this represents the position 1 to 7. You'll have the range of 50 to 60. And add 7 plus 11, that gives me 18. That will give me the cumulative frequency of 18. And what this 18 means is from the 8th position to 18, I will have the range of 60 to 70. So I will have to add 18 plus 31, and that will give me 49. And this is telling me that from the 19th position to 49, I am going to have the range of 70 to 80. So it means that the 50th position will lie in this range. This is where it lies, between 80 and 90. Now the median was found for this in the table to be 85. So the median is 85. So the answer for this, you would have stated that the median amount of money spent, as they said, is $84. This could be correct because the median is 4. If you realize, I just realized by looking at the cumulative frequency, this is where the 50th position will be. The 50th position is between 80 and 90, and the median for 80 and 90 is 85. So this could be correct because the median, the 50th value, falls in the class of 80 to 90, where x is greater than 80 but lesser than or equal to 90. And the midpoint of this group is 85. So if the midpoint is 85, that's close enough to what Davion reports. So it can be possible. All right, so you'd have written something to that extent. Now, looking at this, the next part says the two-way or the contingency table below gives information on the mode of transportation to school for 100 students. Now we have the boy walk, 15 boys walk, 14 boys drive, it is a total of 48. And here we have, for the girl, we have 18 students taking cycle, 26 taking a drive, but we don't have the total. We also want the total for the cycle. What can we do in order to complete the table by inserting the values? To find out the amount of girls, first I need to find the total. And to find the total, I can say 100 minus 48. Because I know 48 boys plus the amount of girls should give me 100. So finding the difference of this, which is 52, will tell me the amount of girls I have. Now that I know the total amount of girls is 52, I can now find out how many walked, because I know 18 took cycle and 26 drive. So I can just say 52 minus 18 minus 26. So I'm taking away these two from 52 and I will get 8. So the answer for this will be 8. So I am just going to replace here. When you have 52 minus 18 minus 26, that's 8. So I'm just going to write 8 in this position. To find out how many boys cycle, then I will say 48 minus 15 minus 14. So it's 48 is the total, minus the 15 that walk, and you minus the 14 that drive. And when you calculate this, you will get 19. So I'm going to put 19 in this position. And finally, to find the total that cycle, I will add 19 plus 18, and that will give me 37. Now, the next part states, a student is selected at random. What is the probability that he or she was being driven to school on that day? Now, the probability that this student has been driven, the total amount of students that's driven. Probability is the number of students being driven over the total amount of students. So the number of students being driven is 40. And the total students that we have is 100. So reducing this, cancel this. 2 into 4 goes 2 times. 2 into 10 goes 5 times. So the probability is 2 over 5. So the probability is the number of students being driven, which is 40, over the total number of students we have, which is 100. Finally, one of the girls is selected at random. What is the probability that she did not cycle to school? Now, we have 52 girls. The focus is on the amount of girls. We have 52 girls. The amount that did not cycle to school, we have 8 students that walk, and we have 26 that drive. So 8 plus 26, that's 34. So I have 34 over 52. And then reducing this, divide 34 by 2, I will get 17, and 52 divided by 2, that's 26. So the probability is 17 over 26. Now, another way that persons could do this, probability is out of 1. So we can say 1 minus the probability of students who actually cycle to school. And the amount that cycle to school is 18. 18 girls cycle out of 52. So the amount remaining will be 34 out of over 52, and then would have reduced it to get the same, which is 17 out of 26. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you have more questions, you can leave a comment below.